Good morning, everybody. My name is Rick Callahan, and this is Pivot Talk. Today, we will have a very fun show. We have Kimberly Spanier with us from the Connecticut Diaper Bank. The title of today's program, Change from the Bottom Up, a Nonprofit's Pivot. Before we get to that, I'd like to introduce who our co-hosts are today. As usual, we have Bob Bishop, our co-host from Apex Consulting. And Bob, I would like to welcome you to the show.
Thanks, Rick. Good to see you.
Oh, sounds like maybe your audio's a little low there, but
Still?
just letting you know if you want to speak up a little bit.
Thank
And
you.
we're also going to go ahead and introduce Juan. Juan is from Known Co-working. He is an entrepreneur whose experience spans the financial and real estate industries. So Juan, I'd like to introduce you to the program as well. Juan, good morning.
Thanks, Rick. Happy to be here as usual.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm having some audio issues. Bob, if you don't mind chatting for just a moment about, Juan, actually, if you don't mind chatting for a moment about known co-working and how we came to Pivot Talk, and then Bob will bring up the concept of today's program while I'm working on some technical issues in the back end here. Known co-working and how we came to Pivot Talk, and then Bob will bring up the concept of while I'm working on some technical issues in the back end here. Juan, it sounds like maybe your mic might be muted. We're having a couple of technical issues in the program here. So, Bob, do you mind chatting for a quick second here while Juan and I are working
Sorry,
on?
I'm sorry.
You got him.
There we
Can
go.
you hear me now?
Yep. There we
I
go.
got you.
I was on a roll there.
let's redo that, huh?
Okay, very good. Okay, no, what I was saying is that People Talk program came out of as a byproduct of really an initiative for us when we were just organizing our co-working space and starting with the different programs. We launched a co-working space in downtown New Haven called Known Co-working back in September of last year, and in March we have to go on lockdown. And one of the things that we wanted to continue is that community engagement and also the study of how companies are addressing the different changes. So People Talk came out of that idea, right? And so far, we've done three programs. This is our fourth program in 3 months. The first program was about the future of share offices. The second program was about the future of escape rooms. Very fun program, by the way. And the third program had to do with architectural design and how they're pivoting. And today we're having the Connecticut Diaper Bank, which it would be great to know how they have been impacted by the whole pandemic and understanding how these examples could be brought to other situations where nonprofits need to pivot. So that's kind of the story of where we are. Thank you.
Yeah, and actually building on that, I would say that this framework that we've been using, we find that the same sort of thinking really applies across a lot of different what we've seen so far, a lot of different businesses. And today, what we're excited to explore is the same thing in the nonprofit space. So really, the idea of taking the difficult challenges that hit a business, and in 2020 we've got plenty of them, and listing what the actions, what the organization needs to do in response to those, and then figuring out which of those reactions can make the organization stronger in the long run. So that's what we've been exploring, and that's what we're really excited to explore today. And in that vein, I'd like to introduce Kimberly Spanier, and she is the development manager at the Diaper Bank of Connecticut. And I'm very excited again, as I mentioned, that this is our first discussion with a nonprofit, but I think we're going to find a lot of the same threads.
Welcome, Kimberly.
Hello. Hi there. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. So, Kim, I understand that you joined the Connecticut Diaper Bank not too long ago. How long ago was this?
I started at the Diaper Bank March 1st.
March 1st of this year.
Yeah, of this year. Yeah, talk about great timing, right?
So
Yeah.
what attracted you to the organization?
Well, it was funny. I've been familiar with the Diaper Bank for years. In fact, I first heard about the Diaper Bank many years ago, probably about 2009, when I had a little one at home and another one on the way, and I was self-employed, and it was one of those things that it resonated with me because as somebody being self-employed, it was like, oh my gosh, what happens? You know, the economy was still pretty shaky. So it was like, oh, what happens if I don't get clients? Wait, what happens if this doesn't work out? And it really was kind of close to my heart and resonated. So I've always been a strong supporter of the Diaper Bank. I followed them, and I have done consulting work for them to help them on projects here and there. But more recently, at the beginning of the year, beginning of 2020, the executive director, Janet Solfi-Alfano, had approached me and said, hey, we are looking to expand, and we need somebody in kind of a development marketing capacity. You want to jump on with us? So I jumped at the opportunity, not really knowing what was on the horizon. And but yeah, so that's what brought me there, and I'm glad I'm here.
Wow. So my understanding is that the Connecticut Diaper Bank has, in a sense, been a model for the national diaper bank system, I guess you call it, that's out there.
Yep,
Can you
the National
explain that
Diaper
a
Bank
little bit?
Network. Yeah. So originally we were started back in 2004, and we were the New Haven Diaper Bank. So Joanne Goldblum is the founder of the New Haven Diaper Bank and the Connecticut Diaper Bank. And she saw the need, that there was no public funding for low-income families who had children. The support was always for basic necessities, right? And diapers are not included a necessity. So what she did was she started collecting diapers and putting together a program which operated out of her living room. And the first distribution went out in July of 2004 to 5 partners. And she was able to kind of launch it based on that, that was the beginning of it. And what she did was establish a network, recognizing that, we needed to be efficient in order to get the diapers out, because there was such a huge need that to do it one family at a time was just not efficient. So she established all these relationships with partner agencies around the state. And, if you're able to go and supplement an existing partnership, say someone who already serves the family, if we can jump into a partnership with somebody who has already 1,000 families they serve, well, that's a much more bang for our buck to partner with that one agency than trying to reach out and, deliver to 1,000 families. So we, from the very beginning, from the get-go, we tried to maximize our efficiencies and get out there. And yes, so that was the model that other states have now used to put together their diaper banks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. So you came on board, and when I was first talking to you about this, Kim, you came on board and you mentioned that you had some pretty aggressive goals to expand the activity there. So wondering if you could share what you were brought on to help do even before this time, and then also it was eye-opening to talk to you about the thought, and maybe a little bit more of what you just referenced of diapers being a basic need for working class families.
Yeah. Well, so I was brought on. So the Diaper Bank had kind of maximized where they could go, and they really wanted to. At this point, they were serving about 3,000 families throughout the state, and they had just received funding from the Connecticut Department of Social Services to service more children throughout the state. So we had established a goal. We wanted to really ramp up and we wanted to double that distribution. We wanted to make sure that we could reach 6,000 kids, right? And so that was kind of in our long-term goals. But she being Janet, our executive director, recognized that with that, there's a need for logistics and delivery and marketing and development. So they brought me on just kind of as a natural extension of the team to try to build things up and reach our goals.
What happens, thinking about the especially now, right, with people thinking about the need to get back to work, and you certainly hear some people concerned about educational components because the not being able to have your kids go to school can be a hindrance to getting to work. But what about for younger kids in diapers? What happens? How does that play out?
Well, it's funny, so many people ask, like, why diapers? What is the big thing with diapers? And actually, it's pretty huge. It is honestly one of those roadblocks that perpetuates the cycle of poverty. And I know it seems a little far-reaching, for me to say that, but there's the obvious component that diapers keep a baby clean, but clean means they stay healthy. And but bigger is this whole idea, like you had mentioned, going to work and sending the kids to childcare. So we have been part of many studies over the years that show that clean diapers help for the health and wellness of not just the baby, but also mom, because like you said, people are going to school. So the state provides funding and support for parents who want to go back to school to improve their education, to get a better job. But if your baby, let me see. So babies require diapers to go to daycare. So mom can't go to school. Mom can't go to work if babies don't have diapers to go to childcare. So it's kind of funny how the diapers become this huge roadblock for people trying to better themselves and better their lives. And improve the situation for their families. But yes, so diapers, it seems to be the one point that if you can't have clean diapers, aside the health implications, but it's also the roadblock. So mom can't go to work. And it's funny because more than the majority, I would say, the majority of our families are working families who have come across something. Something has happened. There's been an accident. There's been an illness. There's been something. They lost their job. And considering that so many Americans live paycheck to paycheck, when that paycheck stops, now what? Or it's even it's a minimum wage job, and that is not enough to cover the cost of living and the diapers, because diapers are not subsidized by any public funding program.
Kim, has that? I didn't know that it wasn't subsidized at all by the government. So clearly, there's a huge need for institutions such as the Diaper Bank of Connecticut to exist. One thing that you started in March, and immediately right after the state went into lockdown, and could you comment on how that changed the whole dynamic? What was the impact on distribution? Give us a feel for what the whole pandemic and the logistics of distributing diapers and storing diapers and all that. How does that change?
Well, that's a great question. Yeah, in a matter of 2 weeks, we went from distributing 150,000 diapers a month to distributing over 300,000, because that quickly there was a need and it just skyrocketed. Wow. So we really had to kind of scramble, but not just in getting the diapers out there, because volunteers are a huge part of our organization. So as places started shutting down and people had to go into quarantine, we lost all of our volunteers. But then also a lot of our agencies that distributed our diapers were shutting down as well. So we worked through, say, food pantries, through churches, family resource centers, all of which we saw shutting down, and we're saying, hey, what are we going to do? So the need doubled. but our agencies, we were having at first was really kind of a panic moment on our part, like, oh, how are we going to get these diapers out there? So what we did, we just started reaching out to our partners and worked out kind of distribution plans. So we were able to make that all work. But that, and also getting the diapers, right? So at the very beginning, everybody's hoarding things, right? So nobody could get toilet paper and basic paper goods. So diapers were among some of those hard to get items. So just to make sure that we didn't have any supply chain issues, right at the very, very beginning, we put in a huge order of hundreds of thousands of diapers to make sure that we could kind of stock up our warehouse. Of course, not really understanding how many diapers we were going to be sending out. So we just, we tried to preempt that by just, loading up our warehouse and going from there.
Wow. So I think it's an understatement if I say that you were challenged at your first month of work, right?
More than I bargained for.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you guys were able to, because it sounded like you had the perfect storm in March and April. So, and we don't know what September is going to be like. We still don't know whether classes are come back fully or partially, and what that does to the family dynamic. I know from a fact, because I have 4 kids, and my wife homeschool and do the whole thing, and then now we're trying to see how we arrange that. But we don't have little kids anymore, so the days of diapers are gone. So but I can't just imagine people families who are in that process. It must be really, really tough.
Yeah, it's been really tough for a lot of people. And, we have a study that shows that it is one of the leading stressors of a family, especially for moms, single moms. Not having a diaper is a huge cause of stress and anxiety. It also, depending on how bad it is, can lead to child abuse, which, again, an absolute need for a diaper. I mean, people don't really think about it, but for those of you, in your audience who have had babies and they're inconsolable, and you're like, I've tried everything. Well, imagine if you didn't have a diaper and you haven't changed your baby in 12 hours, right? We have heard stories that you cannot even imagine of trying to reuse disposable diapers just to try to save, because the cost of diapers is pretty high to begin with. But, like I had the luxury of clipping my coupons and heading out to, BJ's and going to these, buying them in bulk, which lowers the per item cost of diapers. But for someone who doesn't have their own transportation and they don't have a membership to these big box stores, or, and they're buying diapers at the little bodega at the corner, they're paying a premium. So we have estimated it for some inner city families, they're paying an upwards of $150 a month for diapers because they have to pay the premium. They're buying the packages of 10 diapers or 6, just a small little package. And so the per diaper cost is tremendous. So all of a sudden, something that was already an expense has turned into a huge expense for that family. And it's really, it just snowballs. Diapers are one of those things that you don't even realize. It just snowballs into a huge problem.
Wow.
So you've got, it sounds like a great move to make that purchase and fill your warehouse. But now, I guess my next question would be, what do you do now, right? If I would assume that some of your methods of distribution got disrupted, and there's social distancing, and there's what a shipment thing looks like. I mean, how do you handle that?
Right. So we were fortunate. We jumped on and hired. There was a program manager, and now we have 2 guys in the warehouse that were quickly trying to put together a logistics plan. So we immediately saw the need to increase our technology capability to be able to have like online ordering, so we can, again, streamline and be more efficient with a small staff. But the volunteers were, a huge problem, because they would help us. They would package the diapers. So if you imagine, there's agencies that will come on and say, we need, this many size 1 and size 2, we need this many size 5. And so they place an order a la carte. And then we have to pull that from our warehouse, package it up, put it on the truck, and send it out. So a lot of that was done by volunteers, and now we had to do it. So we were fortunate. We received a grant from the Greater New Haven Community Foundation for an extra employee, so that was helpful. We leased a truck, and we have a second truck that is now on the road at almost 5 days a week. So we're really upping our game. This has really forced us to rise to the occasion and kind of we had a stretch goal of, supporting 6,000 kids, and it's easily done now, right? So we just sped up our goals. In 2 weeks, boom, done.
That's it. Just speed it up.
Yeah, just right, going fast forward. But.
What about partnerships? Are there opportunities with organizations with which you've partnered to either do things differently or do things at a different volume?
Well, we've brought on, so we have, because of the pandemic, we've brought on a couple new partners, but one in particular is the Connecticut Office of Early Childhood. They service children in homes to their families. So just by building a partnership with them, we were able to service an additional 1,300 children.
Wow.
So, and the big difference with them is they've actually requested quite a lot of diapers. We normally supply our families with a supplemental supply, right? We don't have enough diapers to give every family a full month's supply of diapers. So we give them a supplemental supply to help lower their cost. But with the Office of Early Childhood, they want a full supply of diapers going to all of their families. So we have upped our game, and they have given us funding for that. And we're hoping to move forward with them. So though they came on as an emergency partner, we're hoping to keep that partnership in place and move on to increase the number of children that we serve throughout the state. But in addition to that, we also have had 7 other one-off programs that they just call us and say, hey, we need diapers. We had the Yale New Haven Pediatric Mobile Unit. They called us, they needed diapers, and they just said, can you give us a supply so we can take care of our families? So we've been happy to accommodate all of these other agencies.
Great.
Kim, and you said that you've doubled in demand and everything that's going on now. How's that in the funding side, donations and all that? How have you handled that? Is there changes there?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, and that was what I was brought on to do. So that was really funny. In the first 2 weeks, I'm still learning. And they said, oh, and by the way, we just need a lot of money right now. So we kicked it into high gear. We were fortunate to receive funding from the state for our expansion, which was planned. We had received some of that funding ahead of time, which was great. Talk about perfect timing. But the Diaper Bank has not necessarily had a huge corporate support base. The bulk of our money that can be used for anything comes from individual donors, right? So what we did was we analyzed our donor base, and we just started it was guerrilla marketing tactics at first, picking up the phone, dialing for dollars. But we used technology to help us. We used our database. We analyzed the numbers. We were able to identify donors who gave, say, more than $100 and picked up the phone and gave them a call, explained our situation. The donors were great. And then from there, we just did campaign after campaign after campaign. And we were able to keep the funding rolling in, which was great. We were also able to get a lot of the emergency grants from, like I said, from the community foundations and from other foundations. But a lot of times when we get grants from these foundations, there is a lot of constraints on that money that says, for example, if it came from the Fairfield Community Foundation, they would say, okay, the diapers need to be distributed in our neighborhood, kind of thing. So they put some parameters on that. So we'll struggle if there's a far-reaching area that we didn't get specific funding for. If they need diapers, then that has to come out of our general, funds. So that was the challenge. So that's why it's always in our best interest to try to get the individual donors to really step up. And our donors have been hanging in with us and have been great. But it was really a lot of guerrilla marketing, grassroots marketing. There wasn't really a time to ramp up the, like a big campaign. So.
I was looking at the website, and it seems like one thing that caught my eye was if you want to become a host of a diaper fundraising. I don't know if Rick, can you show the website?
So
Sure.
that's so the part that he's talking about is you can get involved. So right under the P of the Diaper Bank, it says get involved. So you're talking about the Diaper Drives. So that is one volunteer activity that was very popular, especially with companies, corporations. They would come in and they would say, let us host a diaper drive for you. But because of the restrictions with the pandemic, we were not able to accept. We weren't allowed to bring people into our warehouse, and we did not accept donations. So we shifted gears and changed that to an online platform and had hosted virtual diaper drives, which were really great because they're just a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign where, an individual or a company can host a diaper drive, and then their employees, it's a wonderful way to engage the employees, especially working remotely, to bring them together to unify around a cause. So we've ramped up the peer-to-peer and virtual diaper drives.
That's
Wow.
great. That's awesome.
That's
So
powerful.
if somebody wants to participate on one of those peer-to-peer, what should someone do? Like if an institution would like to host one of these?
Yeah, they can. Well, they can email me directly. I'd be happy to help set it up and do what
Yep.
we can. We have a lot of customized programs that we can set up, but I believe you could go right through our website and follow the links to host a diaper drive, and it will lead you to our software. So we even have the software that individuals can set up a campaign page and go out and share it on social media and email it out and so on and so forth.
Wow. That's awesome.
So you're ahead of my next question, Kim. Is it what's changed? So from a marketing or messaging standpoint, what are you doing differently? That seems to be one of them. But what else? What are the key things that you're doing differently now versus way back on March 1st?
Well, it's funny. So the ever-changing messaging in the marketing and development world has been, it really does have to keep changing because at first everybody's in a panic, right? So our message to everybody was, we are frontline responders. Help us, help us. Oh my gosh. It was kind of more of a desperate plea. I mean, I hate to categorize it that way, but that's kind of what it was. Like, oh my gosh, we have to help all these people. Help us, help them. And that was kind of the nuts and bolts of our message. But then everybody's crying that, right? So everybody from theaters and arts organizations and, essential worker type programs. And so that our message was getting lost among all the other desperate pleas for money and support. So we shifted, and then it was we had to find new ways of getting the money. So we actually shifted gears and put out more of a message of like, we hosted family game night. So we started doing a remote gaming, and it was more around like, let's have family fun and have your family help our family kind of thing. So we really took this urgency and, pleading kind of angle and turned it into, let's have some family fun. Your family helps our family and everybody is happy. So we put together a series of games that we were able to do online, and it was wonderful. We had over the course of a couple of games, we had hundreds of families that participated, and it was fun because we actually brought on families from all around the country because, I had my family on, I would invite the cousins and they would jump on. So it really turned into a bigger thing. So that was really wonderful. So yeah, we've had to keep shifting to stay relevant and not have, so that our message isn't lost.
And your donor base and contacts, are you using that differently? I mean, it's a big ask. To me, it sounds like a big ask to try to support a doubling of your activities in a very short period of time, right? That's a lot to ask of a what is a, it may not be completely static, but it's not. You're probably not doubling your donor base contact list immediately.
Unfortunately, we're not. So, but you're right. So a lot of that donor retention is a whole marketing strategy that we use to try to, part of the problem, a lot of people are willing to open their wallet over and over again if they know that they are appreciated and the money is going to serve a cause that they support in. So it's really on our shoulders to make sure that they understand where their money is going, how many people they're impacting. So it's really important for us to share that information with the donors so they will continually support us. I mean, we did between March and May, we ran an emergency campaign, like an emergency appeal to our larger donors. We did a Facebook fundraising campaign. We participated in Giving Tuesday in the Great Give, which is a week-long giving. We did a Mother's Day campaign. I mean, this is a lot of asks over that short period, and the donors rose to the occasion and were willing to support us as long as we kept them engaged and told them, this is what you're doing to help us. So we've been very fortunate. However, we did see kind of where our weaknesses were, right? We have a small corporate support structure in place, but we realized, this is something we need to build on. So, that it's definitely starting to unearth some of our weaknesses and where we need to build moving forward.
Mm. Kim, can you comment, speaking about all this dynamic and when things are steady state and you plan and you have time to see, how supply and demand matches and all that is one thing. But when you have to go through a campaign that is that aggressive, sometimes it creates incredible bonds, internal bonds in the organization. And I'll be curious to know whether that has happened internally at the Diaper Bank, and what are some of the benefits that you've seen coming out of pandemic and the whole preparation of this?
Yeah, I mean, we've been very fortunate. I mean, the team has really pulled together, and a lot of us are new. Like I said, the warehouse staff, they had to come on and jump right in and start delivering diapers. So we've been very fortunate. We've had a great team. We've bonded and really worked well together as a unit. All the administrative staff, our office staff, we've been working remotely, and then we have warehouse staff that are on site. But we connect every day and make sure that everybody's, on board and on this, part of the plan. But then also, at the very beginning, it was a matter of, is everybody okay? Are we staying safe? Are we operating in a way that keeps our staff safe? And there were so many balls in the air. So, and then trying to find the PPE to make sure that everybody stays safe. And, but no, we've been very fortunate. We've grown to work together really well. And I give a lot of credit to our executive director, who has really kind of facilitated all these relationships and kept us moving together as a team.
Excellent. Very good. So what's the future like?
Well, we've been very fortunate. We really full steam ahead. We were able to implement a lot of our goals. We're on track to really just blow them out of the water. No, we have, like I said, we are hoping to reach the 6,000 children that we serve with our diapers, and we hope to build on that even further. But really, we're looking to establish longer term relationships with like the Office of Early Childhood, but the organization as a whole, we're looking to, moving forward, we're looking to really establish new programs. So economies of scale, the more we buy, the better price we can get. So we have found that there's still a need, baby diapers for babies are one thing, but there's still adult incontinence for seniors, as well as special needs children, period supplies for young adults, women who have, that are in the same situation. So moving forward, we are looking to add new programs to our organization and kind of broaden our offerings. It'll also open the door to new funding opportunities, fortunately, because when we service new populations, that opens doors to new opportunities. So that's kind of in the pipeline, things that we're looking to do. And then also, we're in the process right now of rebranding, putting our messaging together, but like really tightening up the organization so that we can move ahead full steam and be a cohesive unit. We're really upping our game.
It sounds like you're looking for your next challenge pretty soon.
Yeah.
I'm hearing it's like I didn't get enough out of this, so I need another one.
Yeah.
Wasn't challenging enough. Need more.
Why not? Why not? Right?
Yeah. Excellent.
But that's amazing. I mean, it really fits, Kim, right within the framework of what we've talked about and what we're using for the for this show over a number of number of organizations. Is that often the challenges that are presented can really provide opportunities to accelerate on the back end for the organization, right? Moving from serving 3,000 to serving 6,000 sounds like a daunting task, and all of a sudden, when the need presented itself and a lot of things came together, suddenly you're well on the way there, and then there's even other bigger opportunities on the backside. So I think that's an exciting story, and I think it's something for all of us in various roles and various organizations to think about. Is that what is it that comes out of these changes, these drastic shifts in what we have to do, that we can use to make a better organization going forward.
Yeah, we've definitely learned a lot through all of this, and we will implement a lot going forward. But yeah, we have really from March to June, 1 million diapers. That's a lot of diapers. Oh. So we're really trying to do our best, and also moving forward, that one big push that we will also do is really building community awareness and advocating around the fact that diapers are a basic necessity. It's not something we all got to taste it at the beginning of the pandemic when there was a toilet paper shortage. Everybody's in a panic, but if you had to deal with that day in, day out, and you had a screaming kid behind you because you don't have anything to do, there's so many implications to that. It just really snowballs through your whole life. So we just want to get that message out and get people to understand that it's so important, and it's one little thing will make a huge difference in someone's life.
That's great. Well, again, thank you, Kim, for coming on and spending time with us and sharing your story and the story of the Diaper Bank. Really,
thank you.
Really inspirational. Yeah, it's great. We also would like to remind viewers who are either watching live or who are watching on the replay that feel free to reach out to us and with any suggested guests that you have that we might be able to that you think would be good to present. And then secondly, if you'd like to look at the opportunity to pivot your organization, that you can see on the screen here, there's an address to go and start a conversation with us. We'd be glad to have that conversation as well. So Juan, would you like to give us a little update on Known as the parent organization here? That Known is going through a lot of changes, but there's exciting things going on every week. So
I don't know. I'm going to need to hire Kim for a little bit. I need someone like her. Yeah, it's been hectic for everyone. As you know, no co-working in particular, we had to close our doors like any other business, and then reimagining the use of the office and the needs of the office. And this time is more about the remote worker and how to work with remote workers and businesses than it is the gig economy, which is at the beginning our core program back in September. So now the market has changed a little bit, and what that has done is it provided us with a different approach to understanding the needs of different companies that they require office space. And if you go to knowncoworking.com, you'll see the different value propositions. We have daily programs where you could basically escape from work from home and work from known. And you take a break, and we give you a dedicated desk, and everything is sanitized, and is 6 feet separation and all that. And this particular program includes even your lunch. We bring you the lunch from a European bakery in the same building, which is really cool. And you spend the whole day, in a quiet place, very productive. And if you need to use the different conference rooms that we have, we also have a package for like a monthly 10-hour use for $100, which is $10 an hour or so. So we're trying to make it easy for people and very flexible for organizations. A lot of the companies with people living in New Haven County, they like to make sure that their workers, even though they're working from home, they're comfortable. And we want to provide that space where companies could come to us and say, hey, I have a few workers in your area that we would like to buy some memberships, like a 5-day a month or so. And so we've adapted our program to serve those needs.
Awesome. So, Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us again today. Juan,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I will play that outro as we're closing out here. If anyone has any pivot talks they want to be a part of with us here, or they want to go through the framework with Bob and Juan and figure out how they may pivot their organization, please do feel free to reach out. You can go to known.live/pivot-talk for more pivot talks as well. Also, you can follow us on our Facebook and YouTube and Instagram as well to get any of these updates as we go along. So thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.